One of the neat things about looking at the indices after the bell is the fact that it can kick open the door to other connective, well, of course, sectors, stocks, and sometimes other commodities. So at 9:30, you've got the most intense attention on the indices for the next 30 minutes during the clearing range. And it's during that clearing range that we can get that breach triggering, which you can see here on the Dow. Boom, right there. Now, what time was that? Because this will be relevant in a moment. So this was right around just after 10 o'clock. Just after 10. So right around 10 a.m., we get a breach of the Dow. Now, frankly, the Dow really didn't do much for us. So I could look at the XLI for a breach retreat. I could look at the transports for a breach retreat. I could look at financials and healthcare. But what about other commodities? What about other futures contracts? So when the Dow triggers a buy like that, one of the things that I'll immediately think about is RBOB and crude oil and commodities where energy stocks would be weighted pretty, in sync. And energy stocks, of course, are weighted pretty significantly in the Dow. So that Dow crude oil is a neat connection. All right, Dow breaches. And then you've got a breach also right in that same window in crude oil. So we can see it's in sync. That's a great mental checklist. Dow breaches, IYT, XLI, XLV, XLF, crude oil, maybe even XLE, right? Okay, so crude oil gives us a breach. Now, breach retreat is already going to highlight this nice retracement area built within the tool that I give you all. And that breach in here opens up the retreat right in there. And then that's the buy. It's just that simple. But in many ways, crude, the setup in crude was triggered, or at least we were sort of alerted. The mental trigger was, hey, let's look at this commodity. And then once this market continues to surf the wave, well, just let it, stay out of its way. Be cognizant of HPMR resistance, be cognizant of these volatility opportunities to scale out and pay yourself, say as a target one. But here we are surfing the wave. And are we going to run out of time? Yeah, probably, because, here we are heading towards 1600, 4 p.m. So we're just going to run out of time and exit based on the time eject button theory, which is, hey, let's just get out by the end of the session. And that's really, what's going to take us out, time. But let's think about that connective thread between Dow and crude. That's a really neat one, and that worked out beautifully today on the breach retreat.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me